Yeah, you sent me. You're like, I don't know if protesting was on your list of things to do, but
I'm glad
I was
we
like,
did it.
yeah.
Hi, this is Nicole.
And this is Sultana, aka Queen.
And you are watching Makeup,
Breakups,
and Martinis.
Cheers, you guys.
Cheers.
So first of all, we would like to start off by saying we miss you guys.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, but I mean, as you guys all know, we're going through a crazy time.
Yeah, pandemic.
And, pretty much like a civil rights movement. So we had to take a break, but we are back and want to say rest in peace to George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and all of the victims of police brutality and racist violence.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what we want to talk about today.
You're like, where do we start?
Where do we start? Honestly, I know that I hate to bring this up. This is our 3rd year anniversary. And we will shoot an episode later at a later time.
Recap everything, pretty much all of our favorite stories for 3 years, and then just kind of catch up where we're at. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we didn't feel like it was right to do that at this time in this moment now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess I would want to ask you this. Like, have you experienced any racism? Like, I know that your past relationship was an interracial relationship.
Yeah. So if anybody doesn't know, I'm half white and half Hispanic, and my ex-husband, he's Black. So years ago, we went to this restaurant, and it's basically in this small city, and it's predominantly white, and it's very country. So we were at a restaurant, and I remember like we were eating, and this lady, she's leaving, but before she gets out the door, she's turning and she's giving like, I'm thinking somebody behind me, the evil eye.
Yeah.
So I was telling my ex, I was like, oh my God, she's telling somebody off with her look.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me go see who it is. So I turn around and there's nobody there. It's only
you.
She was giving it to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I felt very angry.
Mm-hmm.
I was being judged for my relationship and everything. There was another time too. I was driving and a cop was behind me. I'm not sure what this really was about, but he came into the lane next to me, and then he looked and he was just staring at me. So then he made sure to get right back behind me, and he pulled me over. And so he told me to get out of the car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he never told me why. And he told me he wanted to search my car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I told him, I was like, well, I don't even know why I got pulled over, and I don't understand why you want to search my car. So that was,
wow.
Yeah, an experience.
Did he ever give you a ticket or anything? Or no, he just wanted to?
I have no clue. This was so many years ago. So I don't even remember what happened. I remember like he left. He knew he had no reason. I think he was trying to find a reason.
Right. On
so
the spot.
If he searched my car, maybe
he
was
would
looking
find something.
for, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just me in the car. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like my experiences with racism have been more implicit. So it's more like you feel something, but they're not necessarily saying like they're racist or there's an attitude. And I think the hardest thing with implicit racism is you can't really prove it sometimes, or people don't believe you. So it's like you just, it feels like it's not happening, or a lot of people think that you're complaining, but like, I've gotten the looks or, if you wanted to apply for a house, so there's like, oh well, you've got to prove more, do more, in order to get like a loan or something. So yeah, I think that's really been my experience with racism. Um,
And how often do you experience that?
it happens. It's very often, but the thing about it is, um, it's like, what do you do about it? Like what do you? I mean, you try and walk away from whatever experience, but um, I wouldn't say that like anyone has ever really called me anything or said anything outright. So it's kind of hard to prove that someone is, you know, being biased towards you.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
I will say, and this was a different, I guess, kind of racism. There was a job that I applied for, and my name is Sultana. That is my first name, and I had my first name and last name on the application, and I got called in for the job. And I went in for the interview, and someone had to come out and get me. And the person looked at me crazy, like, and I'm like, what? you know? So we go back there, and I'm interviewed by two people, and we sit down. And the first thing, I think it was the lady, she's like, oh, I thought. I thought you were a guy. I thought you were Spanish. I thought you spoke Spanish by your name. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
no, like, no, I don't have that on my resume. And she's like, oh, okay. So they go through the interview, and it was real like awkward because
Mhm.
it's like, oh, I wasn't
Mm.
expecting you. And I did not get the job. And I was like, I knew because she actually said it. She was like, I thought you were a Spanish speaking man. So that's why I called you. And that's what the position we're hiring for. And so I was like, should I leave now or do I try and prove myself? And I went through the interview just not really knowing, like, are they going to call me back? And I didn't get a call back, but it was really like, wow,
Yeah.
from my name, you already assumed these things about me. And
Mhm.
even though I hadn't put on my application that I
I
spoke
spoke Spanish,
Spanish,
yeah.
you assumed that.
Mhm.
And so it's like those little things where my name can get me disqualified from something. You're looking at my name automatically assuming something about me. Um, so
Do you ever feel like at a job, maybe you have to present yourself in a certain way, you really can't be you or rock hair that you want to or
Well, I mean, the crazy thing is, I think it was like California. California just passed a law on natural hair for
Mhm.
African Americans. Like that is still really a thing. Like you can't wear your hair a certain way. So yeah, you do feel that pressure of fitting into corporate America
Mhm.
and wearing a style that's like, acceptable. Um, and I mean, us black girls, we like to change our hair every couple of
Yeah.
weeks. So, you get the little comments from someone like, oh, it's different, it's long, and I understand that they don't get it. But you do feel like the pressures to fit in because you don't want to stand out. So yeah, um, I mean, yeah. And then also, so I'm very proper. I've always been proper. And even like in school, it would be a struggle because like I don't fit in with the black girls or, you know, um, and if I am with a white crowd, they're automatically assuming that like, oh, you like hip hop, like
Yeah.
you're ratchet. Show me how to twerk, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't twerk. I swear, like I listen to more country and
Rock.
soft rock. Nicole knows, and it's just that automatic assumption that
Assumption.
like, oh, you're black, so this is who you are, and this is how you are supposed to behave and act and speak. And
Yeah.
so those are the things that kind of like frustrate me because I walk in and we automatically assume things about people.
Right.
So yeah, those are things that I've experienced. um and I guess that hits on the point that we're my next point of what's going on right now with police and police brutality, where it's just there's a target on black men and women. There's a
Yeah,
target um, automatically placed on African Americans just because.
right.
Um, and I'm wondering, like, do you feel like it's getting worse or
I think that I feel like it's been this way. We're just now seeing.
yeah,
We're seeing it live. I, I'm sure it's the same. Worse. I mean, it's hard because of our president. I feel like he is definitely calling out,
inciting?
inciting to make things worse. I mean, I was reading an article for the protesters. And when the police go out there, they're allowed to remove their name and badge
Oh
numbers. So
wow,
they
I
can
didn't know
go,
that.
yeah, they can go ahead and remove their names and
Didn't know
badge
that.
numbers and treat protesters however they want, and nobody will know.
Oh
So,
wow,
yeah,
I agree with you on that. I think that it may not. It would. I could only say that it's only getting worse because the president is inciting it and pretty much given the pass.
yeah, he's condoning it.
He's condoning it to say go out and do what you need to do. Meanwhile, there was, the protests with the other groups for COVID, but a couple of years ago, I forgot. I think it was like the Klan was protesting, and he was like, "There's some great people,"
Right,
like he called them great people,
right.
and
I mean, it's just the images alone. Like if you saw white Klansmen march into the government with machine guns and they're
yep,
spitting in the police officer's face, and yeah, we have a COVID-19 going on, and nobody does anything.
anything,
And then we have peaceful protesting going on,
and they're spraying.
and they're like literally just trying to dump out all the water that's supposed to be given to the protesters. They're tear gassing. They're like beating them up.
Yeah, and the thing also too is this is getting to a deeper point. The media, like the media portrayal, is so important on how they want to, our perception. They want to frame our perception of black protesters versus white protesters. So black protesters, they're considered looters, and I do understand that there is looting that was going on, but like they're not protesting or portraying any of the positive images. They want to, create
They
the
want to
narrative.
show you. They
Yeah,
want to show you the bad so they can change the focus on what's happening. And
right.
I think that's what this president has done ever since he's gotten into office. It's like, here's the main focus, but let's
Right.
look over here.
Mhm, mhm. Did you even see, like, what he did with the mayor? The mayor, she changed the street, I thought that
Oh,
was
for
awesome.
DC,
Yeah, in
yes.
DC, to Black
Black
Lives
Lives Matter.
Matter, and then she changed
The
the,
name, Lafayette to Black
Black Lives
Lives
Matter.
Matters
But
Plaza.
even the president's response to that was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we really don't get political, but this is the time that we couldn't hold back.
Right.
So,
It's out of control, and I think it's necessary to speak out and say that this is wrong. I don't think anybody who condones this behavior is right. But yeah, I mean, he's been acting worse than a child, honestly, with the language, and it's really scary. It's really really scary. And to think that an election is coming up, it's like
yes,
it's
please,
crazy.
everybody go out and vote,
Yeah, but
please.
yeah. So also there's George Floyd's daughter. Did you see there's a video of his daughter um and she was saying my dad changed the world.
Yeah, I like cried when I saw that video.
I cried because I really do feel like he has. He has started something.
He's definitely started a movement. So today is June 6th, which is it's world history. Well, it's world history because we broke the civil rights movement. So today is the largest day where 50 states, 18 countries have gone out and protested.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
That's
Mhm.
and they're like you said 18 countries. I mean, I've been seeing so much support across the world, New Zealand, Paris, Germany. I even saw Canada.
Yeah.
They said that it was Canada and I think Nigeria that was like, if you guys want to come here, you guys can come here as an asylum because the president is making it unsafe for Americans.
Yeah.
And that is so bad because United States is usually the place that people come to.
Yeah, we're supposed to be the greatest state in
Yeah,
America.
but the greatest country, but
Yeah,
yeah,
greatest country, yes.
I think I think the positive thing out of this is that the countries, everyone is coming together. All of the world is coming together and saying that this is a problem. This is an issue. So that is that's beautiful to see.
Right, and it's kinda like even though that the officers were arrested, it's we're not stopping.
Right. I mean, because they also still need to be charged.
Yeah.
Um,
That and it's like there needs to be
Not
more.
charged, but like what it sentence. You know.
Are you waiting for the trial? And see what their sentence is?
Well, yeah. I mean, you look at someone who, like Gotham Jean, who was killed in his home, and
Mhm.
his killer got 10 years for literally entering into his home while he was on the couch and shooting him dead. So
Breonna Taylor,
Breonna Taylor,
cops are in charge. Trayvon Martin,
there's so many
Rodney
instances,
King,
right?
like
So there's so many instances where there may be um, a charge, but they may not get sentenced or they get light sentences. So
yeah, there I
it's
mean,
kind of scary.
yeah, we need laws in place. So we definitely need the laws to change because really what's going to happen is there's going to be another person.
That's something that I've been thinking about too. I feel like right now the laws give racist racist policemen, racist people, such as the killers of Ahmaud Arbery, they are in favor of those type of people, and
Mhm.
I think we need to kind of take the teeth out of the the racist rhetoric that's within the laws. Like right now, lynching is still legal. Like they're fighting right now
Yes.
to make that illegal. And I feel like that would have been illegal a long time ago. I hate to say this, but if someone else were to be hurt by it, like I can't understand how that is unnecessary, like how that is not illegal. I do see that they have passed the chokehold for police
Mhm.
officers. It's illegal now for a police officer to you know perf- perform a chokehold, and they've also made it a crime for if assisting officers, if they don't assist, then that's also a crime. So um, that is a move in the right direction. Um, but there's still a long way to go.
Right.
The justice system, so many different laws that need to change in order to, um, you know,
To yeah, for everybody to actually be in a country where we all are created equal
mhm,
and justice to serve equally across the
across the
board.
board. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Um, there's this amazing lecture, and I sent this to you from her name is Joy. I don't want to get this wrong. Joy DeGruy Leary, and I'm probably butchering her name, but if you look it up on YouTube, it's called the Post Traumatic Slave Syndrome. And I'll spell her name Joy, Joy, DeGruy, Degruy, and then Leary, Leary. But if you look up post traumatic slave syndrome, she breaks it down like going all the way back to slavery and what happened after slavery. And one of her points was there was never any therapy after slavery. There was
right.
never any kind of like, all right, you guys, let's come in and let's talk about what happened to you guys. It was just um, continuous like trauma, and she made this point as well. Like lynching happened after slavery.
Mhm.
All of lynching happened after slavery. So, she just talked about how the trauma has been passed down. And if you look at what happened to George Floyd, that was lynching in 2020,
Right.
you know? And I think that was the outrage. That's the outrage that, a person can do that so carelessly.
Mhm.
I mean, he had his hands in his pocket, just literally listening to the man um, cry out for his mother and family. It's just like crazy,
It's
absolutely
inhumane.
crazy, inhumane. And
For a counterfeit $20 bill,
is
like
that what that was what the
Yeah.
I didn't even get into that's but even with this the lecture
I
that Leary did.
sorry. I did like what she was saying was when she was explaining the background of that men and women, they didn't have counseling after
Mhm.
slavery and what everybody was going through. So it was like, you know, so a woman, her father could have been bought, she could have been raped, and she has children, and then all everybody's set free. And it's like, okay, now you're good. So
Right,
what's
right.
left? But then it's like, well, then you might put labels on African Americans where they're loud and they're
Angry.
mad, they're angry, they're
Mhm.
this and that. But it was like that's passed down from their mom who
Right,
didn't get help. It
right.
was passed down to your generation, to the next
Mhm.
generation, and it's just a long line of
Trauma, hurt,
trauma.
pain, right. I mean, like you said, uh, there was no therapy for a woman that was raped and her husband was sold off and her child was killed. There wasn't any. And then you're free and you continue on. And then um, you have a child. She brought up the point about the 9/11 where some people saw 9/11 and even if they weren't there, they were affected by it in some
Yes.
kind of way.
Mhm.
And I think that's the way slavery is. It's like you're affected even if
If
you
you want,
weren't there
yeah.
because
Because we all remember exactly where we were when 9/11 happened.
happened, right? And so you got to imagine these slaves and the generational effects of how they've raised their children and the trauma that they've experienced.
I don't know if you saw the video, but the young lady who recorded George Floyd, um, the whole thing, him passing, everybody was asking her, how does she feel?
Oh,
And
she did an interview.
um, it wasn't an interview. She just did a post because I guess everybody was asking her, and she was like, "Everybody keeps asking, and she doesn't know." She's like, "I don't know how to feel." She just had so many emotions,
Yeah,
and that alone is traumatizing.
and I mean you've got to think about along the same point, black men in America who are watching
Hmm.
every day, thinking this could happen to me.
It happens to everyone every single day. It happens to your friends, your family. It happens to everyone. A lot of people don't talk about it. Some people don't even know their friends have been affected. I had one of my friends who put up a story and he explained how his story of how he was affected. And I was like, wow, I never knew that about you. And I'm glad you're sharing your story because,
And the real question is, well, where do you go? Where do who do you get help from? And like, do you talk to a therapist about the racism that you're experiencing? You just kind of bear it and go through life with it. If you do to talk to a therapist, there's no solution because nobody's policing the police.
right.
So I wanted to bring this up because it's a person that everybody knows about. Meek Mill shares his story about his experience with the police. And this is like a common thing. I just use him because he's a celebrity and you can look up his story. So if someone, isn't aware of like police brutality, that's a great example. But he shares his story on how he was arrested for a charge that he wasn't it you know, it was not I don't know, something about a gun and he was arrested, but they beat him up before he went into before they took him into custody. And I think that's one of his album covers, like the mugshot of when they beat him up before they took him into prison, or into jail, into custody. I'm butchering this. Um, and he's like, that's normal. Like they beat me up. Who do you talk to? Like that's just normal. Like, and he was on probation for 18. I'm messing this up. You got to follow his story, but he was on probation for so many years for this charge that wasn't his. And he's like, that's everybody in the hood. That's how it is. Like that's just the way it is. And honestly, like what can you do? Because it is the police, and I think that's where that distrust of the police comes in because like they know they can get away with it. There's
Yeah.
no one to stop them, honestly. And that's why it's so important to change the laws. And
Yeah.
um, I, him doing the reform and being a part of reform for that is super important.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody who's doing their work. Kim Kardashian. I'm not really a Kim Kardashian fan, but I do love her work that
She's
she's doing.
trying. She
She
really
is.
is trying. And
Yeah, I saw the story. It was.
but is
I
that the
wish
example? And we ain't got nobody else
No,
that we can.
I have
I
somebody.
was like Kim
No,
Kardashian. I mean, I give her credit. She
oh
does.
no, Sean King.
Sean King. There
Sean
you
King.
go.
But I'm just saying, like, if we were saying like celebrities and that's not really their job, but now I mean, she is trying to
She
become a
is
lawyer, and
right.
no,
She's really been an
I mean,
active
there's a
part
lot of
people
celebrities who's activists, but
actively. Yeah.
I know she's just a celebrity who's trying to work with prison reform.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
yeah, and then shout out to Meek Mill, Jay Z, some of
mhm.
the other big name celebrities that we can think, that are out there that are really actively working towards prison reform, which is one of the pieces of racism that we need to address.
Yeah, I saw this one. I dang, I don't think I snapped a picture of it, but it was um it was Felicity Huffman, and how we all know the story where um she had her daughter, I guess somebody took a test for her, and so she can get into
Oh yeah,
college,
yeah,
and she
yeah,
got
yeah,
into the
yeah.
college, and then
Her
she got
and
like, what was it, 14 days in
yeah,
jail. But she's a white rich woman,
mm-hmm.
so a slap on the hand. Same woman, homeless. She lied about her.
Zip code
Yes, she
to
got
get her.
her child just so her child can go to school. They got caught. I think it was 5 years, and I
Yep.
wish I knew the woman.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it happens every day.
Harsher sentences for African American people. Um, and I mean, I'm gonna bring this up a lot, but the lecture that Dr. Joy DeGruy, post traumatic slave syndrome, did really talks about how mass incarceration worked towards um, you know um, pretty much free slavery. It's the new form of slavery where you they incarcerate these people for free labor. Um, and so,
Gosh, man, I saw this thing. It was in college, but yes, and it's like a cycle too. So I mean, the whole system's a setup.
mm,
So you get people, you get them in, you have them work for you, you get them out. They can't find a job,
right,
they can't get a house,
they're
and
on
then
probation
they're back in the
forever.
streets, like hustling,
But
and then they get caught again because they can't get a job. It's like, how else are they going to get money? So it's the whole system has set them up to fail.
yeah, I mean, and then you think about probation, these extended probation periods of 10, 15 years. And if you have any interaction with the cops, you're going back to prison,
Yeah.
you're going back to jail.
And you
Um,
can't vote.
yeah. So it's systemic. And I think that's so important that, we're aware. Um, I'm wondering, like, what are some things that you think we can do to help?
Well, I think that there's a list of things. I think we really need to keep our eye out on businesses, who's promoting what
Oh yeah, you
businesses
did tell
are
me about.
putting their money towards Trump, which companies are actually putting their money towards change.
Right.
I know Lowe's is, Home Depot hasn't, Target hasn't,
Yeah,
so
you were telling me, like, I'm watching
I'm
all
watching.
these companies.
Yeah.
um,
I think there's another way you can better like inform yourself. So
right.
if everybody's in a book club and you're reading books for the summer, maybe change up the list of what you would normally read.
Mhm. Mhm.
Support Black businesses. Go out and protest. We did, and it was our very first
I mean, I
protest.
don't think there's been a protest. Yeah, yeah. You sent me. You're like, I don't know if protesting was on your list of
On your
things to
list of
do,
things to
but
do, but I'm
I
glad
was
we
like,
did it.
yeah. So yeah. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
That was one of the greatest experience, which is kind of sad because how the police are handling it. I
Mhm.
was a little iffy. I want to bring my daughter out so bad. I think this would be a great thing for her to experience, but I
This
wasn't
is
sure how.
history. This
Yeah,
is
it's history in the
history.
making. So I wanted to bring her out, but I wasn't sure. So we went out, and it was very peaceful.
And by the way, I'm just so happy that I went with my sister,
Yeah,
and yeah, it was very peaceful. It was after the fact that we realized you sent me the message that they had already they
yeah.
sprayed
They
tear
had
gas.
tear gassed an hour before we got there.
Yeah. And I don't know if tear gas is the same as mace, but I've been maced before and it's not fun.
Oh, I
It
can't
is
even
not
imagine.
fun. And honestly, it's just there's no reason why they're tear gassing people. I mean, did you see when I guess Trump tried to clear out the crowd so he could take
Yes.
the picture?
Yeah.
Did he have them tear?
Yeah, he shot at them. They were tear gassed, and the guards pushed the people away. Like
Yeah.
they were like body slamming them.
And
So
so it's just unnecessary and excessive force for no reason. And I think that's the biggest thing, like having people who are not black understand the difference on how we're treated,
yeah,
because there's the other group of protesters that are out there and they're not touching them. Like they can talk to them any kind of way, get
yeah,
really close up in their face,
yeah.
and they're not they're not doing anything. But we're
No,
literally trying to have peaceful protests.
that was one of the beautiful things that we saw was everybody. It didn't matter what you look like. We all came together. We all said the same thing out loud. We were all
It was
marching
very
for the
powerful.
same cause. And then there's this street, and they have like these big, huge. Well, it's off Bayshore, and they have these huge houses. And I've
Mhm.
always, every time I go on Bayshore, I always like say, I wonder what these people look like. I wonder
Mhm.
what they do, and they never come out of their houses, not for like Gasparilla, anything. And they were all outside of their homes with their fists up with signs. They were just cheering us on, and that was beautiful too.
Now
So,
that was beautiful. I did appreciate that, and I don't want to sound like a negative person, but I was like, some of these people are in the polls. They coming out just watching us, mocking us, but I think these people are voting for Trump 2020. Like that's, I felt like one or two of them were really just like, yeah, and I'm like, you are definitely voting for Trump. Stop it. You can go inside. But it was very beautiful. I mean, I'm a tear bag, so a water bag, so I almost cried a few times because it was beautiful to see everybody.
hmm
And I just felt like
and people are out there today, and look, it's
in the rain, it's been
raining all
raining
day today.
all day. I mean, it was raining, it was sprinkling when we went out, but
Yeah.
just to see, it's like, you know, black people have been carrying this weight forever.
Mhm.
And now it's finally feeling like everybody is starting to feel like, okay, we need to be a part of this. We need to help you guys carry this, like saying
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter,
I mean, I'm
really,
tired of seeing it and hearing it on the news. It's like it's back to back to back.
right. Like how many stories do we have to see? And you see like an Eric Garner who, was killed, and then people are like, oh, well, maybe, and there's an investigation, and maybe he deserved it. But now it's like everyone's like, nah, nah, this was wrong. We watched it, it's like we watched it, we saw it plain sight. This is racism, Black Lives Matter, and we're standing with you. And that's like it's like beautiful to see that people are finally waking up to it. And
Yeah.
one person that he was woke way before all of this, Colin Kaepernick.
Yes.
And it's crazy to see how people are now like, going back on how they treated him. Like, man, Colin, we see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like there weren't police killings at that time. I mean, there was so many. It was still happening then.
When he did that?
Yeah, when he kneeled. I mean,
Well,
I
that
think
was why he was
that
kneeling.
was why he was kneeling.
Yeah.
But now it's just this one woke everybody up. This one, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and it was just really like back to back, wasn't it? Like week, like
Yeah.
it was like 3 weeks in a row, and I think everybody just kind of took a step back for the most part. Now I know you talked about businesses. Have you noticed any friends that haven't been supporting or?
Um, you know, I've seen some people who haven't said anything, and I think that's pretty dangerous.
Mhm.
Um, and I actually like what I'm seeing now on social media probably for the first time. It's not about like what you're doing in life, where you're going. It's about like what you're for. So it's a
Right.
bigger purpose than yourself. So I
Right.
really appreciate now more than ever what I'm seeing
Right.
versus in the past. It's like, man, this how could
This
we have cared about any of
everything
what
else.
you're eating, what you're drinking, or
Right.
stuff
Right.
like that.
Right. Now
So
you're seeing like, a movement
yeah,
and real purpose behind posts. So,
yeah.
um,
I mean, it's really sad. It's it's
what's sad?
well, like if people aren't saying anything, like I know a lot of people I've seen where it's like, well, they've canceled friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've canceled a lot of friends because of what's going on, which is okay because if you're not if you're not gonna stand for a cause
Then what are
that's
you?
impacting my life,
Mhm.
then you have no you shouldn't
You
be a part of my life,
right. Now this
basically.
is just me playing devil's advocate because somebody's got to do it. But let's say that a person isn't posting about it, but they may feel a certain type of way. Do you give them like do you still cancel them or do you feel like they should be actively saying something on their social media page? Because some people could be working behind the scenes. Again, playing devil's advocate.
I get that. I get that. Maybe like a job. They don't want to be political or
Right.
have a stance. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think there's like two people, and it's not like we're really close that I haven't seen anything. So to me, if I was like, well, we're not really talking anyways.
You're like, I can
So we
unfollow
can,
you.
yeah, I can
Yeah.
unfollow
We
you
can
and
just continue this course of not
so I
talking.
haven't had somebody where I'm like really close to and had to fight those terms with.
Yeah.
But no, I mean like, I mean, you can. I don't know. I
No,
feel
no,
like you
no.
could
I
put
get
it
it.
in your story
Or
and you can
something.
hide certain people. Like, come
Yeah, there's
on.
no reason for you not to feel or feel called to an action. Like I had a friend. I mean, she is a schoolmate, and I think a couple of years ago she said something iffy. It was just a little iffy, and I was like, okay. And then I was kind of watching for her reaction this time, and she didn't say anything. She just kept posting different things, and I was like, I feel like this is a time for us to just
Separate and
unfollow each
go
other.
your
Yeah,
separate
like yeah,
ways.
let's just go our separate ways because I felt like maybe she was more leaning towards that I don't care about what's going on type of vibe. I
Yeah,
think some people are just well, what's the saying? I've seen this on like signs. Silence is violence.
violence.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I mean, a level of silence is scary. It's not okay. But I don't know if I can completely rule out people who aren't actively so posting because people could be acting in a different
Yeah,
way.
maybe you could just have that conversation with that person. Like,
Yeah, if you're
hey, if
close
you're
enough to
close
them,
to
yeah,
them,
yeah. If you're close enough, just ask them like, "So what's going on? You coming out to the protest
yeah,
us?"
invite them out.
Yeah,
See.
like what? Are you donating? Send them a link to donate or sign a petition. And that was something that we posted on the page. Like, there's
Yeah.
different ways to act. You don't have to protest. You can sign a petition. You can donate. You can support a black business.
Hmm.
Um, what is your view on supporting black business?
It's definitely bigger than ever. But I feel like we just
We
support.
have been.
Like I think we do a great
I know. I
job.
think we are to just kind of, continue on that path. This was a point. That's the one. Go ahead.
Sorry, but I was thinking about this, and it was like, man, we do go to a lot of black businesses,
Mm-hmm.
and we support them, and normally go to the same ones. But you know what? They know us and we know them and they
Yes.
support us and we
Yeah.
never even had to
Talk about.
talk like yeah, we never had to exchange like, hey, I'll post you, you post me. It
Right.
was just an automatic thing.
Yeah.
Like, so you can go to a lot of businesses, you'll never meet the owner.
Right.
They'll never like know who you are, they'll never support you.
Right.
So
I mean, I think, and that's one of the advantages. It's like that personable, that relationship building that you have, with um, with a black business, black owned business. Again, to play devil's advocate, I've just heard this view, and I just want to bring it up. Some people have said, "Well, I don't support black businesses because sometimes they overcharge and the customer service is bad." Do you feel like that's ever been the case? I don't feel like that's really been the case for the places that we go, but I mean,
Well, I'm sure there's another Black-owned business
that
like
you
it
can
that you
support.
can go to and support.
Good point. Good point.
Um, yeah, there's some white businesses that I've seen, and they are definitely put their political views and how they feel about it, and I'm down with them too.
Yeah.
So, um,
But yeah, I mean, I think it is important. Like you said, if that business doesn't.
who are they donating to? What is their cause?
Mhm.
Like, definitely, I mean, we saw here in Tampa businesses just putting how they feel about it, and
Oh
they've got
yeah.
automatic like canceled in a
We're gonna
day.
say the name. You sent me the funniest post. It was How to Lose a Business in
Business in
One,
one day.
because the movie, the How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, and then they like put the faces of the owner of this business. Actually, let's shout him out. Franklin Manor. We
Franklin
are
Manor.
protesting. Well, I never really liked going there anyways. I didn't like the vibe. But yeah, they the owner posted something about like shoot them all. And I think they like gave like they responded and they gave the person time to take it down, never took it down, stood behind it, added more comments. And then I think once it made it to the news, it was, "Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize."
Which I think was 8 days later.
Oh, it was 8 days later. Okay, so then you stood behind what you said until you realized that it was bad for your business, and then
Right.
you
It wasn't an
resigned.
automatic
It wasn't
reaction.
an automatic
Yeah.
reaction, and it's good to know. I think that's the great thing too. It's good to know how you feel, so I can keep my little coins in my purse and go somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want to know if you're racist, great. Don't take my money. Like leave me.
Hmm.
So I mean, I think that's the silver lining in it. I guess that you know where where you shouldn't go, or who really supports you and who doesn't. The businesses that are really supporting the cause and who aren't. So,
Hmm.
um, not shout out to you, but yeah, Franklin Manor and all their affiliated businesses are no longer getting my money in Tampa.
Yeah, my money or a lot of people's money.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's where we are. So, but yeah, it's just been crazy. 2020 has been a roller coaster.
It's been a wake up moment for sure.
Yeah, that's really what you can call it, a
Yeah.
wake up. Um, yeah, uh, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's definitely just we're to the point where we have to stay on top of you. Uh, when I vote, I normally vote for just the president. I don't
Right.
look into like
Oh, yeah.
governors, I don't look into mayors, but
We are seeing
I'm
how
seeing how
important.
important, yes, the governor and the mayors, who's running for judge,
Yep.
everybody.
And that is also a big thing. Like you're starting to realize, no, it trickles down. It
Yes.
trickles down to your councilman, to
You have
every
a
party.
pandemic, if you're
Right.
and you want to go
A
protest,
crisis. Yep.
yeah,
You see what your officials
local officials
are
are doing
doing.
in
Yep.
your neighborhood, and it's really important. Please, everybody, go out and vote
And you remember
because I
Trump.
can't take another 4 years. I
I mean,
can't.
I think early on with the with COVID-19, Trump pretty much was like, "Well, I'm gonna pass it down to the states. Whatever your governor wants to do is what you guys are gonna do." And then you're like, "Whoa, who's my governor? What is like? What is he gonna do?" And our governor DeSantis is a Trump friend. Like they're
Yeah, so it's
buddies,
whatever he wants
really.
him
So
to do.
right. So,
That's what we're doing.
but you really see how different governors have come up. Shout out to um, Governor Keisha Lance Bottoms. I think that's her name in Atlanta, because
Oh,
she
I thought you were
has.
doing our mayor,
Oh, what?
Jane Castor.
Oh yeah, her too. She shut down the city before uh, the governor did, but um, yeah, you've seen people step up. Andrew Cuomo, everyone wants him to run for president. I don't think he wants it. He's like, I don't know why. Like, there's a campaign going on, but he really like New York is really like taken care of. Like he's really made moves for New York. So that's been beautiful to see. But you've been seeing it all around the country how people have been responding. So it's so important
Yeah.
to elect the right officials, local officials. I'm trying to think. So I did bring up Dr. Joy DeGruy Leary, post traumatic slave syndrome. That's what you'd want to look up on YouTube. But there was also the study, it was the famous study from Oprah. Oprah had her. Her name is Jane
And
Elliott,
Elliot.
and she did the
I had to
eye
look.
color experiment. And that's
Yeah.
another one that you would want to look up as well.
Yeah.
Like pretty much.
I had to, man, I remember I was in college. This was another video that we had to watch. And she did this experiment right after Martin Luther King died. And she saw like the impact it had with everybody after. And it was pretty much things were the same. Like Black people weren't, they were still being treated the same
Mm-hmm.
way. Nothing had changed. And she got so angry. She unplugged her TV and put it in the closet. So what she did was she did a study in her classroom. She was a teacher, and she divided the class into two, like whoever had brown eyes and who had blue eyes. And what she did was, so she's like, oh, anybody who has blue eyes, you can go out and play, but all the
Mm-hmm.
brown color eyes, you have to stay in and you have to do your work for the day. So it was anybody who had blue eyes, they got treated
Better.
just better. And then she rotated the next day. And after that experiment, she had no friends. Nobody
Yeah.
wanted to be with her.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she this experiment was so impactful
Yeah.
that she went to college, she taught it, she was on Oprah, she's been on many shows.
Yeah.
I just saw her on a late night show and she's still talking about the same thing,
And
but it was
because it's
just
still
being,
relevant. That's the
yeah,
sad part,
it's
you know?
being segregated and then just treating by just the physical traits
And
of
that goes
your character,
into
physical traits.
yeah, that goes into the implicit biases and racism that people of color have faced, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well your skin is brown, so you don't get this privilege. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was a great study. I remember seeing that. Jane Elliott, just really just picking apart how racism works. And
Yeah.
so yeah. Well, I don't know if there's anything else we want to add to that. I mean, like you were saying, it's so important that we go out and vote.
Yeah.
Um, and
Everybody, please go out and vote. Please do your work. Do your research.
research your local officials.
Yes.
Stay safe. We're still amid COVID. That's the crazy thing. We're dealing with a pandemic and the civil rights movement. So we are making history and we are getting through it. So I'm so
One
proud
day
of
at a time.
everybody.
Yes.
I got my quarantine body. Because it's just, we got to make it. And so yeah.
Yeah. Cheers to you guys. And the next episode, we can do our recap.
Yes.
All right. Cheers guys.